Today we are going to talk about toxic clients. We all know them, we've all had them. How do we deal with them? How do we make this stop? How do we stop this craziness? So something that I want to say off the bat is that it's not just toxic clients. It's toxic people in general in any relationship, right? But the reason why toxic people come up in business so often is because a lot of times, there's a lot of narcissists in business specifically who have certain antisocial personality disorders or narcissistic tendencies, and they're in business because obviously they could get more of what they want by doing this, right? So let's say, for example, in a photographer, videographer example, a lot of times there will be these clients who are like, hey, I want more out of you, I want more out of you, I want more out of you, right? So I have one client, this is an example from I think 2 or 3 years ago, where this client would consistently hit me up and she would want to book like a $200 or $300 photo shoot. And at first it was amazing. I'm like, yeah, I have this client who's paying $200, $300 every time we do a shoot. And at some point she's like, hey Kyle, you know we've done 4 shoots together, can you give me a better rate because I'm booking with you often? And in my head I'm like, yeah, you're booking with me often, but why would I give you a lower rate because you're booking with me often? Because other people could book this same slot for the same price. So that don't make no sense to me. And then she started getting upset. Oh, well, you know, you're charging a lot. You're doing this, you're doing that. And this often happens with clients that we work with consistency. So I always have to consistently put up boundaries for certain clients that I have, because the closer that we get with clients, the more they think they could push those boundaries. Not all of them, obviously, but the more toxic ones, I guess we could say, if you want to use that term. So basically what I do is I put up a boundary, right? I put up a boundary and I say, I am not going to do more than is necessary for this client. Doesn't matter if it's a friend, doesn't matter if I'm working with them often, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that I do is I treat every client the exact same way. So if I'm working with a client and they're like, not signing the contract, or they're not paying the deposit, then we're not working together. It doesn't matter if I've worked with you 100 times. You got to pay you got to sign the contract. You got to pay the deposit. You have to do everything that everybody else is doing. If you want a discounted rate, would I give that discounted rate to somebody else? If the answer is no, then I'm not going to give it to you. And that should be the way across the board, because what happens is we could get into a situation where we're working with a client that we don't necessarily want to work with. And we're working with them just because we're used to working with them. And so something I've learned over time to stop working with these toxic clients and just having less toxic people in my life in general is realizing and putting up those boundaries where it's like, okay, I'm not going to work with you just because I've worked with you before, just because you've given me money before. That doesn't mean that you have control over my life. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people will come in and they'll be like, oh, well, we did this shoot and we did that shoot. And I'm sure you guys have similar stories, right? People who always just try and push and push and push. Hey, can you give me a discount on this because of this? Can you do this for me because of this? Bro, I don't know you like that. Even my close friends, I don't know you like that, bro. Like, why are you asking me to do all this stuff for you when you wouldn't do the same thing for me? I had one client one time, he's like, hey man, we worked together for like 8 times in a row, right? And at some point he's like, hey bro, can you pick up this package for me? And I'm like, bro, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, there is zero chance. There is no way in hell this person would ever pick up a package for me. So why do you think I would pick up a package for you? It doesn't even make any sense to me. So I told the guy, I'm like, hey bro, I can't pick up this package for you. And he starts going, oh bro, come on, please do it. I'm like, yo bro, I'm not gonna do it for you. I'm like, I know for a fact you wouldn't do this for me. So why would I do this for you? He's like, nah bro, you don't get it, I would do it for you. And this is that toxic shit that I'm talking about, like narcissist type behavior where it's like they will say anything to get something from you, right? So you have to be super careful about who you associate with, who you speak with, who you do these things for. And I'll give you an example of a really good client, right? I have a really good client who every time I shoot with her, she's like, Kyle, just tell me the price, I'll pay it. Boom. Done. Easy. My life is easy. So it's this thing where it's like we really have to choose our clients, and obviously, if you're not getting a lot of work right now, it could be tough, right? Because that client that's paying you the money could be toxic and you're working with them because they're the one that's giving you the money. And often that happens with people who have money, because a lot of times when people start making money, some of their toxic traits can come out. Not everybody, right? If it's a toxic person to begin with and a toxic person gets money, they're going to be more toxic when they have more money, right? So it's that thing. It's a careful, it's like taking smart steps. All right, I'm working with this client, I'm putting up boundaries as I go along and treating them like every other client. If you could do that, you'll be successful, you'll be blessed. I already know that in my own life, that's been the case, right? Making sure I'm putting up those boundaries. And I recently had a client who it was a close friend of mine, and he kept asking for more and more and more, and oh, free shoot here, or I do a shoot for him, and you know, it was like on a fun time, so like we're traveling and stuff like that, and he's like, oh, I'm not paying you for that, that was just for fun. And I'm like, bro, what? That doesn't even make any sense. So, you know, put up the boundaries beforehand, make sure you have the contract beforehand, make sure you have the deposit beforehand, and let's get this money. All right, talk to you guys in the next video.